Okay.
Let's try to find the internet.
Did you push the button?
I pushed the button.
I don't know if
We're
you
good now.
did. We're good now.
After a lot of circling, we're good now. Maybe the program was just really enjoying Devon's whistling. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. I am Mo. Lindsay's celebrating today.
I've got my Cape Line margarita beverage.
Different than the normal wine that she would get drunk on during the show.
I have that here too.
I like it when Lindsay gets drunk on the show. She don't shut up. She just keeps going and going. It's like that Energizer battery. It just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
Now, I would wish you a happy Cinco de Mayo, Devon, but as we found out in our pre-show, our pre-meeting, you don't celebrate other cultures.
You don't?
Not that I don't celebrate other cultures, but I mean, nobody celebrates my culture.
Dudleyville? I mean, I celebrate Dudley.
I mean, I would.
You don't.
I just don't know a lot about it.
I really don't. I haven't worn overalls in like 2 decades.
I mean, I try to wear tie-dye like at least twice a month. Come on.
See, Lindsay doesn't do it.
How would one properly celebrate Dudley culture?
White or black glasses with tape around it.
Okay.
Overalls, fatigues, and just a Dudley shirt and, testify. That's all you say.
But the Dudleys are more than just a look, though. I want to embrace what you encompass.
You grab Lindsay when Lindsay thinks you're her friend, and you have a table set up and you throw her ass right through it.
Okay. I will celebrate. I will celebrate being a Dudley one day. Okay.
There you go. Whether it's Lindsay or any other female. Be careful. The Me Too movement's coming after me now. Put them right through the table.
So we did actually have a comment come in while waiting to start the show, and this is something for you to consider, Devon. This is really good here. Devon opens a restaurant and calls it Testifry, and maybe even deep fry a table if you want. What do you think?
I liked it, but I don't think it's going to last long, and I'll tell you why. So many places make French fries and this and that. But think about it. You ever go to a burger place, like mom and pop one, whatever, or even sometimes when you get the McDonald's fries fresh, it's like the best thing ever. It's like even better than the burger.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. But that's what you would have to compete with if you just opened up a restaurant like that.
But they'd be Testifries.
Yeah.
Cheesy Testifries.
That's not a bad idea. Lindsay, what you're saying, you're joking, but Lindsay, that's not a bad idea.
I'm not joking. I'm just going off Daniel's idea.
Yeah. Waffle Testifries. I mean, there's
chicken and waffle and Testifries.
Maybe Testatots? No, that doesn't sound good.
I'll test the tots.
And then you will. Okay. Oh God. Of course.
That's why I said it doesn't sound good.
And then your dipping sauce would be.
You don't want to know about dipping sauce.
Just use your imagination.
Lindsay,
have a great menu.
Lindsay, you're opening up your mouth. Don't do that.
Okay, I'll be quiet for the rest of the show.
You don't have to be good. You have to be quiet, but be careful what you say, especially when it comes to dipping sauce.
For your French fries. Wow.
Hard pass.
This is awkward.
Tots. Yeah.
Those. That's good.
Maybe only after hours do we serve those, like the late night menu.
Hard pass. Hard pass on the what is it? Tot fries. Somebody just said. The great thing about it is if the tots are hard, I don't want them.
Is this an awkward show? Is this? I feel like
it's not an awkward show. It's going to get us ratings.
Awkward.
Well, let me add to that then. Let me add to that then. Lindsay, who's got the bigger nose, me or Devon?
Wait, let me see a side profile, Devon. Like all the way side. Okay. I don't Mo side, all the way. Oh, I don't know. I can't tell.
Wow, that's a cop-out answer right there. Reason we ask, a new study out of Japan shows that the bigger the nose, the bigger the hose.
Okay, well, actually, Mo has the biggest nose.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you lying.
But I have the smallest, too, so I have no hose. Yay.
No, you have
the
a
bigger the nose, the bigger below the belt, is what the Japanese study finds. And this will be the first time in my life I embrace having a big nose.
There you go. Okay.
Oh, And then there's this one, Daniel in for Devon's is wider, but Mo's is a little bit longer.
Oh, what is that? Is that like travel down as well? Does that mean the same thing?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. If mine is wider, that means I got a thick old hose, and a lot of women like them thick. You can deny it all you thick. Thick
That's
hoses.
Weird. Noses.
And let's be honest, it's not the size of the nose anyway. It's how you smell. So
this is true. You smell like both nostrils.
I can smell what I'm cooking.
I knew it. I was waiting for that. And of course, we've also been waiting for our guest, who we had some issues with last time. Not with the guest, but technical issues with our guest. So let's hope second time is a charm. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Al Snow.
Yeah. Guys.
I can hear him.
Yeah. Can you hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Good. Like that. I think that.
You're going in and out now.
Are you on your phone? Maybe is that?
I am on my phone. It'll take. I don't
know. Should he take the headphones off?
I wonder if it is like the earpiece. You know, your.
Give me a second. Yeah.
I think it's worth a. I would say, are those Bluetooth? Is it a Bluetooth connection to the phone? No.
I don't headset on.
Huh.
Is that any better?
Let me ask you a question. Your phone, I'm sure you got a phone somewhat similar to this. Is the earpiece is usually down here? Is that being covered?
Been. It shouldn't,
I mean, if you're hooked up to Wi-Fi, maybe switch to the data or the vice versa.
Well, he was looking forward to going to the arena to be able to just steal and mooch off of their Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
So hopefully we can get that.
Yeah.
Love the shirt. Absolutely love the shirt.
Much upload rate here else.
Devon, did you do like some sort of curse or something? That Alex just cannot have an easy experience on this show.
No, I just wished him a happy birthday. Today's his birthday.
His birthday's on Cinco de Mayo?
Not.
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah.
Let's sing happy birthday.
No, we did. Let's start.
Happy birthday, dear Mr. Al.
We're gonna start.
Happy birthday, dear Mr. Al.
Man, that's good. Keep going. Yeah, that's great.
Happy birthday, dear Mr. Al Snow. Head. Happy birthday to you.
I'm not listening to you.
Yes. I heard that.
We heard that all right.
Wait, I'm just waiting for Al to sit up there and go, I don't hear Devon, but Devon is still talking. I'm not listening to you, Devon.
I mean, that's what I say like every single day.
If it helps any, Al, we actually see your video just fine. It's only the audio that cuts out. So I don't know if that helps narrow down any issues or not.
I'm gonna change.
Make it happen. Do what you got to do.
Okay. Hold on.
All right. See, we got him on the beginning of the show, but then traffic and things got in the way, so we still couldn't do the audio test ahead of time.
I'd like to say, though, he looks good. He looks great, just like he did last week. It's nice to look at. Mhm.
Okay, Lindsay, thank you.
I just want to. It's.
I remember her ever saying that about you, Devon. Wow, you're really looking good again this week.
I mean, I can't hear you.
She called me before the show started and told me she looked good.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to tell them like when nobody else is listening because
That way she doesn't want any listeners knowing, and some of the guys that think she's just gorgeous. It's like boy bands. When boy bands got to pretend like they're single because if not, it hurts their fans. And
yeah,
same thing with Lindsay. She can't come out and tell me that I'm hot. She's got to wait until the show is over, and then she calls me privately. Not even in the group text message that you and I have. She got to go privately.
Well, of course.
And she goes, "Devon is so hot."
I don't think that's me.
That's
sweetie.
you. That's when we FaceTime each other, so it's got to be you.
It's not. It's not even a thing. I'm so sorry. I don't understand.
I'm so sorry that you just didn't know to say that. I had to tell people that. It's okay, though.
Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. It's true.
I know it's true.
I admit. I can't get enough of them. Look at him.
Just hot.
Look at him.
Just hot. Just hot.
Well, if we can try to cool off the conversation a little bit here, try to cool things off. While we wait for Al to hopefully reconnect.
Are we talking about squirting or squirting? Are we talking about squirting now?
I think your audio is cutting in and out there, Teddy. What is he talking?
That's wow. The same issues that happened to Al just happened to Devon.
So weird. Is it like a wrestler thing? I don't get it.
We squirt.
That was good.
Nope.
All right, so Lindsay gets a little bit jealous that Devon and I have good stashes that we can get high. All she has is wine. I mean, wine drunk. That's all she's got.
I mean,
she's always saying, "Oh, send me some." Like Devon's like, "I got to go to the dispensary," and Lindsay off air always is, "Send me some, send me some."
Yeah,
well, guess what, Lindsay?
Tell everybody. What?
There's a new way to get high that you don't have to worry about cannabis.
What is it legal?
Oh yeah. I mean. It may not be
like
your
a nice,
choice.
like relaxing.
No, you go underneath the sink in your kitchen.
Like I have whipped cream in my get on the can. What?
And these cans, you just spray and inhale.
I mean, no, it's no fun. No.
So no.
Right.
This may not be your top choice, but how bad do you want to get high?
I feel like not that bad.
Oh, come on. Like you're
so bad. I just wish I had
weed, right?
Gummies of all the I mean I do, but like what? No. Yeah.
Right. So there's a new trend on social media where you eat rotten meat to get high.
No.
It's called high meat because people are clever.
Meat. Like what?
And if you eat old, decompressed, discolored meat with mold and bacteria growing on it, you will feel euphoric after
and then
2
like
minutes.
Extremely ill
and dead
and vomit and then die from E. coli or whatever you get or parasites.
Now they did say the downside of this would be you wind up with a stomach ache, diarrhea, food poisoning, or worse. But how bad do you want to get high?
I just want to know what.
I'd rather just go to the dispensary
and
get my gummies.
Fish?
Right. No, I'm not worried about you, Devon. I mean, it's legal in my state. You got it covered in yours. But Lindsay feels left behind, and this is how you do it.
Okay.
This is how you do it. Eat rotten.
So is it rotten cooked meat or rotten raw? I need specifics here. And is it like steak?
I don't know. Try both.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll get back to you guys.
And you work in like a vet clinic, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe you try, animals in the past.
No.
Lindsay, I'll give you some gummies.
Thank you.
Because I don't want to see you die.
Oh my God. You're so sweet. Thank you. That's all it took. Like all this, like, please. I mean, like, if you think about it, like, send me some. Oh, I don't want you to die. Here's some gummies.
Yeah, because you eating rotten meat with mold on it, or
I am gonna have to do more research because I'm like curious as to.
I knew it. See, you are that desperate. You're like, okay.
I'm not. No, I'm not. It's like my scientific brain working? Like, is it going to be like raw meat, cooked meat that's been in the fridge and then out on the counter too long? I don't know.
Hi guys.
Oh my gosh, I can hear your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, what happened? How did
It
you
sounds
clear
so
this
good.
up?
I got on the laptop, so
Wow, because it's funny. I'll use my phone a lot of times, and I
I
have
do
no
too.
issues. Yeah,
I've used it on Zoom and StreamYard and Skype and every other thing, Google Meets, and I've never had an issue. I don't know why. Just
It's
this.
Devon.
It's
Well,
this show. It's
it's
this
Devon.
show.
This
I was
show
trying to tell
and-
you something, Al, but you're not listening.
and plus you're denying your birthday is not right.
Happy birthday.
It's
I'm
not my
celebrating.
birthday.
I'm celebrating.
Ow.
No, I believe
Ow.
you.
I
think it is.
celebrate for me because it's
I will. Look, I
several
will.
months
Sure,
ahead
it's
of
fine.
time.
And it was like
It's
last
not-
week was your
Al,
birthday too.
Stop
I mean,
it.
it's
Stop
so
it,
fun.
Al. Stop it. You and I both know it's your birthday. Why are you so hostile? Come on, Al. Have a drink on us.
Yeah, I wish I had one. I would definitely do it right now. You
All
the only
already
way I get through the
stressing me.
show.
I've just gotten on your show and you're already stressing me. So stop.
Welcome to my world. Welcome.
Feels like you're working for a big organization again.
Uh,
I know
they
the
said buy
feeling.
a wrestling company. They said it would be fun. They said,
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Far
No.
from it.
"What a rib!
Yeah, it is a ribbon. You should know better than that, Al.
You'd have thought so."
Al, one of the questions I asked last week about who broke you into the business and when did you start?
I started in 1982. May 22nd of 1982 was my first match in Springfield, Ohio, and journeyman wrestler by the name of Jim Lancaster broke me in, and basically, back in those days, it was kind of like almost an apprenticeship. So when you got broke in by a person, they took responsibility for you and indoctrinated you into the business, and they basically taught you all the ins and outs and were responsible for you. And that's why you were always referred to as their kid. Like I'm 58 now, and I'm still with the older wrestlers. I'm still known as his kid to this day. So
That's great.
if I say something on here and they happen to hear it, they'll call him. They won't call me, and then he'll call me, and I have to have an explanation. So
Oh, that's great. And do you still keep in contact with them?
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, yes. I still talk to Jim, not as often as I would like, because I get so busy and lose track of time and everything with OVW, but I definitely still get to talk to him. He got to come down into Louisville. We did a big event in downtown Louisville on the second time on 4th Street a while back, and he got to be at the event. So that was a big thrill for me to see that he got to come to that event and see what I was doing and everything. So
Wow. Okay. And how did you acquire, I should say, OVW? Like, what was that? What made you do that?
well, that wasn't my intentions, quite honestly. It really wasn't. What had happened was I had moved back to Louisville in like 2017 or 18, I think it was. And I started coming around OVW and kind of hanging out a little bit and talking to Danny Davis, who was the guy who created OVW and years ago. And one day he just kind of jokingly said, "Hey, you ever thought about buying a wrestling company?" And I was like, "No." And at the time, I was making an effort to approach all of the different commissions around the country, in Oklahoma and Maryland. I spoke to the guys in Maryland. I spoke to them in Pennsylvania and Louisiana, and because that summer a young man out in Oklahoma City, which they have a commission out there, was poorly trained, if trained at all. Went in the ring with somebody that was poorly trained, if trained at all, and did like just a simple move, like a spine buster, I think was what it was, and he struck the back of his head on the mat and had brain swelling.
Ugh.
And was in a coma for several days, and they had to pull the plug on him, and he died. And, at the time, I was getting really frustrated because, I'm out there, occasionally doing spots on Independence, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, there is no reason, like, not just from an aesthetic standpoint, but from an actual protecting yourself and your opponent standpoint, respect. I should not be at over nearly 60 years old. I should not be the best conditioned athlete in the building.
Right.
There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
And my lovely wife is a licensed masseuse, and not taking away from being a licensed masseuse or a hairstylist or barber or a mortician or anything, but the likelihood of injury in those professions is pretty slim and none. I mean, especially for a mortician, if you injure somebody, who cares? They're dead.
And they can't come back and sue you.
Right.
Mhm.
But, in wrestling, and you'll attest to this, Devon, I mean, every time you step in the ring, there's an innate opportunity, a chance, every time you step in there to suffer a life-altering injury or to die. I mean, it's the truth. And, we have, in order to be a licensed masseuse anywhere in the United States, you've got to go to a state-accredited training school. You've got to be taught by a state-accredited teacher. You've got to complete a number of state-accredited hours. You have to, spend a certain number of hours of residency training before you can even take a test to get a license. Professional wrestler, regardless of who is the commission, where they're at, you just pay your money and you maybe take a physical, maybe a blood test, and ta-da, you're a wrestler. You're a professional wrestler, and there's no standards. And just anybody can find a place, find a building, find a ring, open it up, and start bringing people in, and they just run them through. They don't make sure that they're in good condition physically or for their own sake and safety, and it's an insult. So
it really is, and that's why me and Bubba opened up the school when we had left WWE the first time, and we went on the indie circuit to try to get ourselves back into ring shape because we had been off, I think, 3 or 4 months after leaving Vince, and that's when we realized how bad of the state it was terrible. Yeah. They were hurting each other. They were doing things they had no business doing. Jumping out of rings for no reason, no psychology to it whatsoever. But because they saw it on TV and they thought it was a good thing to do or it was a great thing to do, I'm going to do that move, but no rhyme or reason. And it's like the TLC matches. I've seen a few of them where I've been on independent circuits where they've used tables, ladders, and chairs, and they're just doing it just for the hell of it. There's no psychology. There's nothing involved in it to make any sense of what they're doing. And then they wonder why they don't get the reaction that they get.
Yeah, well, it's insulting to those of us that made a living doing this. That now there are no standards, and so I went and spoke at the board of directors for the Kentucky Boxing Wrestling Commission. They of course turned me down, but that was where I met Chad Miller, who at the time was the executive director. He took a very strong interest in what I had to say, and then we got together and talked, and then it was we. Formed a partnership with Joe Reeves and Larry Benz, 2 other people that were of like mind and wanting to elevate combat sports in around the area. And then we went and spoke to Danny, and then that was how we did the deal. So,
now, is Danny still with you guys?
No, Danny is completely retired. He's down in Florida. He's coming back this week. I'm going to get to see him this week, I think.
He's a very smart man.
Yeah.
He's a very smart man. I keep telling people all the time, I'm like, just when you try to get out, there's always something that pulls you back. And sometimes it's unexpected. Like you now with the school with OVW and you're doing that. I'm sure you were easing your way into regular life again, and then all of a sudden it
Oh, I
just
was.
brings you right back.
Yeah, what I'm doing now, though, is I'm developed a new course, and I think this is where I'm going to make most of my money, and that is where I'm going to teach wrestlers how to get out of the business, not how to get in,
Oh,
how to get out.
Dawn
Interesting.
Marie was on our show last week, and she came up with a really good solution. Just leave it completely, divorce it. Like if you get divorced, you don't
Right,
see your
yeah.
ex-wife again. You don't go and visit her and see how she's doing. You don't go do autograph appearances, go make appearances, period. Just stop. Just don't do it again.
Just cut it off.
Cut
Yeah.
it off. That's the one sure way of getting out of the business.
If you can do it, you can do it.
And
And
let's
as long-
say, and let's say, Al, you were able to transition into a normal life post wrestling. Where do you see yourself? Like, what would you be doing?
Probably I'd be a magician for the blind. They love card tricks.
Man,
You
I
know,
look into that.
you just have to say ta-da after every trick or they don't know anything happened. So position card, and they're like, I don't know. And you go, yeah, it is. Ta-da. And they're like, oh my
I
God,
know.
that's amazing.
I do want to point out, if anybody's not following Al on social media, you should do so because Guy really is hilarious.
Hilarious is listen. There were times in TNA where I was miserable, pissed off, upset, and Al knew it, and Al would come over and make me laugh. And a lot of times I'd be like, Al, I don't want to laugh. I want to be angry. Why be angry?
I want to be
Oh,
Why
angry.
be angry? Just laugh.
Why be angry? Why? If it ain't going to matter in 6 months, I ain't spending 6 minutes on it.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's so good.
Exactly. Al, whose idea was it to come up with the gimmick head?
That was mine. I was, at the time, had a really bad attitude and was misplacing my responsibilities on everybody else instead of myself, and pointing the finger at everybody else instead of me, and which made the attitude even worse. And but I did know from my experience that I had to leave WWE and I had to go someplace else to get myself back over. Otherwise, I would be stuck in the spot that I was in with WWE. I had to go someplace and let them see me as a star. And thank God for Chris Candido, God rest his soul. He was tight with, he was tight with Paul.
Yes.
And then, unbeknownst to us, to some degree, Paul was working with Vince. And
Nobody knew it.
not totally, because Paul wouldn't let it on.
Right.
And Chris went to Paul, and then Paul went to Bruce, and then I was put on loan because I tried to quit WWF, and they rolled over my contract and basically said, "Nope, you're not quitting." And that made me even worse. I even more of a shithead then.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible when you ask to leave the company and they don't let you go? But then when you don't want to leave the company, they fire you.
Oh, they'll cut you right.
Man.
See you later. Yeah, I was hot too. And then they let me go to ECW, and Paul had no plans for me. And I just kept working on things to show that I had suffered a nervous breakdown. And I had a book on abnormal psychology that had a case study in there about a woman who had paranoid schizophrenia and what they called transference disorder, where she transferred her illnesses to the objects that she heard voices from. So she thought they were crazy. So that was the whole deal, is that I thought the head was crazy, not me. And
you did a great job on it. And it was just amazing how that pay-per-view we talked about last time when we were having an audio problem, how that the styrofoam heads with everybody, and how when your music hit, it was in the perfect song too.
Oh yeah.
Who I forgot who was the artist of that?
Oh, that was Prodigy.
And they were hot at the time. I mean, they came in with that song and they blew it away. Then they had other songs that followed that, but that one that you used, I mean, it just set the tone for everything.
Paul's the one who, he's the one who found that song, and it all worked. It all worked perfectly. I mean, it was the right thing at the right time for the right reason.
I mean, it's great because the song can actually help make the wrestler big time. And damn it, I curse Metallica for going up there and getting mad. Curse the Metallica in a good way. Metallica, I like Metallica. I love their music. I happened to meet some of them, great guys. But damn, I'm mad because when Metallica went after Napster and did what they did, it just ruined everything. Like we couldn't use the
Man.
music anymore. We
Right.
had to
Yeah,
come
that's
out
what
and be
happened.
original.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes a big difference.
Sucked.
Makes
Yeah.
a big difference.
Like it's hard, because one of the guys that I enjoyed working with, believe it or not, was New Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And when he would throw when his music would hit, and he'd come out with Natural Born Killers with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, that song was hot,
Yeah.
and it really gave him, I think, that extra boost when you heard that. And to try and when you look at some of the matches that WWE inquired during when he bought ECW, and you see New Jack's matches when he come out, it ain't Natural Born Killers. It's some made up song that tries to
Yeah.
sound like Natural Born Killers, and it's like first you hear that phew, and all of a sudden you wait for the dun 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 dun, and you don't hear that. You hear some light version of it. And I'm just like, yeah, oh god,
It's not the same.
it's
Yeah, it's
not
not
the
the same.
same. It's not the same at all. And New
Not at
Jack knew
all.
how to play that part too. That was the great thing about New Jack. He really knew how to do that. And I think that worked for everybody in ECW. Like I did an interview for WWE early on today, and I told him, I said, we were the land of the misfits. Nobody else wanted us. Nobody else wanted to do anything with us. And all of a sudden, Paul Lee took the chance and let us be us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem now with a lot of what's going on, is that a lot of guys, number one, don't know how to be them, or don't know how to be creative like that, and they don't have anybody to teach them.
I agree.
So when you ask the question, what's going on in the state of the business, we don't have what we used to have anymore.
No, because now the talent sell what they do. They don't sell who they are and why they're doing it. And they're
Exactly.
not wrestling for the audience. They're wrestling for each other.
Or one person in certain companies.
They're writing a report.
Yep. And that is so far from how, when we broke into business, or even when we were on top of the world in the business at the time, they let us be us. We were able to go out there and do us. That's how we did it. Listen, could you imagine if DX went out there and they were told Road Dogg couldn't go? Oh, you didn't know? That was part of the biggest thing that helped DX to really get notified, because it was those catchphrases that really helped during the Attitude Era.
Sure.
And you didn't have too many of that back in the day until the Attitude Era. Then the Attitude Era had it, and then anybody that had a good catchphrase got over like $1 million along with their music. It was phenomenal time. Do you miss it?
Yeah, of course I miss it. I mean, it was fun. We had a great time, and we were all making money, and we were, running full tilt, and it's always good when the territory's hot. And audiences are in there, and they're up and they're hot, and it's easy because our objective when we go out there is to tell a physical story within the context of a competitive situation in such a way that we elicit a very strong emotional connection and reaction. And when you've already got that crowd's already primed before they even walk in the building, man, it becomes even that much easier to elicit the strongest response you can.
And they know your catchphrase. They know what you're about. So they're anticipating you doing it. And when they did, oh my God, the arena would lose their mind.
Yeah.
I remember Edge told me a story one time. It was before me and Bubba got to WWE. It was like a little bit right before. I mean, we got there in '99 of August, so this had to be sometime in '98, I guess, whenever Edge got there, or the beginnings of '99. Where, remember, Al, at one point, every house show, every Raw or SmackDown was sold out. I mean, you couldn't get a ticket for WWE. We were so hot.
Yeah.
And I think they were
didn't
in
even
Portland.
advertise the matches.
Didn't even have to advertise the matches.
Wow.
No advertising whatsoever, and sold out. When Edge told the story in the locker room, he said, yeah, he made the biggest mistake when he first came into the locker room, and he goes to the curtain and to see how many, see if it was sold out. And I guess there had to been, the arena held, I think, 15,000 people. So there was only 10,000 or a little less than 10,000. That's still a lot of people in a 15,000 seat. So he looks out, and Paul Bearer is right next to him, and he just goes, man, we got a lighthouse tonight. And Paul Bearer remembers the days when they barely got people in the audience, and things like that.
There.
Yeah, you were there during that time.
I came in at the end of '95,
Yeah.
And we were, we had I'll never forget, we had $100,000 house, and we were celebrating. We were thrilled. We were just like over the moon because we had $100,000 house. I mean, it was tight. It was really tight. It was tough, and then that was just right before we started hitting that run with the Attitude Era,
Right.
And so, for Edge to come in and look and go, oh, the house is a little light, and all the boys are like, you should have been here last year, buddy.
Yeah, he said that Paul Bearer looked at him and just like kind of gave him that look like F you, you don't know what it's like to come in. And he was like, and Edge goes, even if I was to say it as a joke, there's certain things you just didn't do. You didn't touch. You didn't say. And he goes, he learned real quick that was one of them. He just didn't say it.
You didn't, because everybody was touchy about it, because we were all, strapped for cash, and, 4 and 5 and 6 guys to the car, and 4 or 5 and 6 guys in the hotel room.
In a hotel room, yeah. It was rough, man. It was real rough. And I remember we did that in ECW for a little bit until things started really growing for ECW. Then you were able to make a little bit of money and be on your own, but then it kind of fell back into it again. So it was like you were there, you felt it, then you felt the success that ECW was having, and then all of a sudden, as quick as it came, it was gone, and you just went right back to the other part of it again. It was just like, wow, it was like that quick. But it was amazing. But I will say this, Al, though, I thank you so much, because there were so many things that you taught me that I talk to a lot of my students, especially when it comes to comebacks. And I remember when I went singles in TNA, and you were my agent, and you said, give me a comeback, and I gave it to you. You said, why would you do that? And I was like, God damn, Al. I was like, I was having fun until you came and told me that. I was like, what the hell? What's wrong with my comeback? And you were like, never. You like, don't pin the guy. It's like, if you got all this stuff that you're doing, why are you pinning him, breaking it up, when the people are not going to feel it? It's gonna fall flat. How about doing it without the cover until you get to the end, then make the cover? You get the bigger explosion. And I remember I didn't do it. And I did what I wanted to do anyway. And then I came back and said, Devon, what was that? I was like, well, Al, I didn't feel that way. And you were like, okay. So I remember I doing it on a couple of live events, and I wasn't getting the response. And you said, you still feel your way works? I go, no, I'm going to try it tonight. And you were like, okay. And sure enough, I remember doing it, and they were there for the whole comeback. And I was like, wow, Al was right. And
oh, my God.
But here's the deal.
Isn't it crazy?
Hold on. I was pissed off because now I had to come back, because you were the agent at the live event. So now I'm pissed off, because now I got to go in the back and apologize and say, Al, you're right. You're right. I was wrong. And I went, Al, and you just went like this. You went, it's okay. Go Devon. Because it's taking this much to come out of you to come to me and tell me what you're about to tell me. Because I'm sweating, and it wasn't because I was in the ring, because I was already showered, dry, and everything. Meanwhile, I'm like, God damn, I got to go to Al and tell him he was right and I was wrong. Damn. And back then, you would think that should be such an easy thing to do. But back then, we were so prideful. We know, a lot of the guys didn't like to admit when they were wrong.
Sure.
They couldn't take, criticism like that. And, I had to swallow my pride. That's when I learned a big lesson from Al. I was like, shut up. I don't care what you've done in this business. If someone knows or has been around longer than you, listen. Eyes open, ears open, mouth shut, and just listen. And just understand that they've been where you're trying to get. So stop. And I got to say, I never finished the conversation, because I walked off mad after apologizing. But sincerely, after 20 years later, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Finally.
I learned a lot of the same lessons, because I made a lot of the same mistakes. That's all I tell people, is I don't know everything. I just have already. If I tell you don't touch the stove because it's hot, it's because I've already touched a bunch of stoves, and every one of them is hot.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, and I don't know if you two wouldn't know, because you got to be behind the scenes, but Al had, he had the white styrofoam heads that you would get at the department store, but then he had a real, like, one of those mannequin heads. Yeah, he had the real one that you put in the department store would close the thing. And so we would always try to take the head and hide it. Put it in other lockers in the locker room and everything.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah. So now he would get hot. And he caught me a couple of times.
For shoot, it would freak me out.
Yeah, because you don't mess with somebody's bread and butter.
Well, you just you have to. I was in such a state of mind. Like if you took that thing, it freaked me out because like I was like connected to it.
Yeah.
And like I was like, oh Jesus Christ, what am I going to do now? You know, I can't go out there.
So the first time he caught me trying to do it, right? So then I left it alone. So now the other guys in the locker room are noticing he's getting upset. So they start taking it. So who's the first person he blamed? Devon.
Of
Where's my
course.
head? He's like, where's my head? I need head.
Oh yeah, I'd freak out. I'd get all stressed out.
But the great part about it was you had to see him talk to it, and then he would he would have conversations with his head, and we're all looking at him in the locker room like, what the fuck is wrong with him? He's really taking this too. And he's really talking to this head. But it was great because this is what you had to do in order to get really psyched up in your character. And this is what a lot of people don't understand today. You have a character, it can work, but you have to be really involved. Give you a prime example. You got Denzel Washington, who did the show, and I heard this because of his story. He did the movie Training Day, and he said he had to get so into that character because that character wasn't him, but he had to get so heavily involved and study and do that. That's why he won the Academy Award. That was his first Academy Award he's ever won from that movie. And I thought he did great in other movies like Malcolm X and other things, but that one did it for him. And he said from that point on, he always studied his character. He never ever got something and didn't know about the character because in order for it to work, you have to invest in it and put in the time. Don't be lazy about it. Do it. And I think that's what a lot of guys today don't do. And this is why they fall short.
Well, because they treat it as if it's just a character and not an aspect of who they really are with the volume turned way up. Because like you'll attest, Vince McMahon is Mr. McMahon when he walks out there. That's Vince McMahon. It's just
testify.
way up.
Oh, testify. Yes, he is.
Steve Austin is really Steve Austin.
The Rock is really The Rock.
Yeah, you and Bubba were really you and Bubba. I mean, you just turned the volume up on that part of you that when you went out there.
Yeah, but I wasn't a real asshole though.
No. But
you're not that good of an actor.
But,
shut up, Lindsay.
And then you've got to commit. And I remember after the shows, and I would go into restaurants and carry the head in there and sit down at the table. And across from me. And
it was freaky, dude. You go into a restaurant and he's sitting there at the table and the freaking head is opposite of him and he's having conversations. I can only imagine the people in the restaurant going, please, somebody get ready to call the cops and please let this man leave.
It was
asked to leave
opposite side of the restaurant.
Did you really? They told you to leave?
Oh yeah, a couple times. They were like,
really?
You're making the rest of the customers uncomfortable. I'm like, they're making us uncomfortable too. So there.
That had to be. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen some things, but that had to be the scariest thing because, you doing that and with this head, that's almost worse than Dustin acting like he has Tourette's for real.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on the plane doing it.
He would act like he had Tourette's on the plane. Yeah,
and scare people. Oh, especially he had these little old ladies sitting there.
Remember when he army crawled down the aisle? He got on his belly. On that one flight, he army crawled down the aisle.
Down the aisle, and the stewardess didn't know what to think. And he's sitting up there.
Oh my god!
I just kept saying, "Look, his medicine's in his bag. It's
accidentally checked
in his bag.
You can't access it.
And he lands. We'll give him his medicine. He'll be fine."
Oh, the great had to be the one time when he was reading the Bible out loud. He was doing it, and he was doing it with the Tourette's. I looked at it, I said, "You going to hell?" I said, "You so going to hell." I said, "You so going to hell, Dustin." He just started laughing. Oh God! And I tried to get him to do it again, like when me and Bubba came back the second time to WWE, and he was there. Yeah. And I tried. We would take these flights together. I'm like, "Come on, do it for me one time. Just go." Yeah. And he would just be like, "Devon, I can't do that. They're gonna kick me off this flight."
Yeah, it changed.
Yeah, it did.
You can't get away with that stuff anymore.
Well, and that's actually something I wanted to touch on, where that was like one of my first experiences with the idea of what's now the common term cancel culture, where your figure, one of your WWE figures, at least one, pulled from the shelves because he had head and that helped me backwards, and the domestic violence it was insinuating. Could you do anything like that in today's culture?
Wow.
I think you can. The problem lies in it's not in social media, and it's not in you know the problem lies in the fact that now it's not about intent, it's about causality. It's about what happens, how somebody takes it, which there's no way you can anticipate that.
Sure.
And that was back at a time where that's really where cancel culture kind of started kicked off, I think. And that was two women who were assistant professors of communications, of all things, at a college in Georgia, came into a Walmart, saw the action figure, their kid wanted it, without doing any study, no homework, never watched the show, nothing. They wrote a letter to the Atlanta Constitution, basically espousing their opinion about what it was and what it meant and how it was going to affect the youth of the world. The Atlanta Constitution printed it, and part of the letter I quote was, "It's a future training manual for future spousal abusers,"
Jeez.
because they assumed it was a decapitated woman's head.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Never contacted me, never anything. So Walmart, of course, knee-jerk reaction, panicked, and immediately yanked it off the shelves. And so did all the other stores, and it became a national news event for about a week and a half. So, which was great for me. Time Magazine did a story on it, and we were in Philadelphia when I found out about it from Raw, and Blue Meanie and I were at the gym, which brings up a really interesting conversation I had with Vince. And I'm doing cardio, and the top 3 news stories, in no particular order, on every major news outlet. Steve,
Wow.
was the mayoral process for Philadelphia, the Bosnian peace process, and my action figure being pulled from the shelves.
It's incredible.
And I walked the building. Vince is standing there talking to Tommy Blodgett, one of the writers. Turns around and he goes, "Hey, Al, what the hell have you been up to?" And he's walking over to me with a big smile. And I had just found out not more than 10 minutes before. And I'm like, "Vince, I have no idea." And his face turned, and he just turned around and he walked right back over to Tommy Blodgett. And I just stood there like, he just started a conversation with me and then shut it down. Like, what happened?
Oh,
So
man.
I stood there for a minute, and then at the top of my lungs, I went, "Well, I'm going to go down the hallway in the locker room, put my bag up, and if you want to continue the conversation you just started, feel free to come get me."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's.
I've never seen a human being do that. Walk up to somebody and go, "Hey, how you doing, man?" You go, "I'm doing," and just turns right around.
Yeah. That's happened to
not
me
awkward, but
and
like
countless
that awkward.
others. That's happened to me and countless others numerous times.
Yeah, it's
Just
amazing.
since I've been back. Yeah, it is amazing. But it just shows you how sensitive society is now with
Sure.
everything. I mean, I was trying to make a point on the show a while ago about things that are said, how they take everything and they run it the way they want to run it. And I said, okay, maybe you should run this. I'm gay and I'm going to be on RuPaul's drag queen show. And that's all I said. And next thing you know, the Dirt Sheet writers went out there and said that. And then I had this guy on Twitter go, "I can't believe you're making fun of the gay community." I said, "I ain't making fun of the gay community." I said, "I'm just sitting here proving the point that everything I say, people analyze it and write what they want to say to make the story bigger than what it is."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who'd ever thought that they would actually say? There's never been any evidence or anything that I'm gay or even said I was gay in real life or what have you. I said it on the show talking with these guys, and they took it. "Oh yeah, Devon's gay." And so when you open up your Google, my son said, "Dad, you got something to tell me?" I just went, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You came out the closet? Are you serious right now?" I was like, "Boy, no, I didn't come out no damn closet." He goes, "It's all over Google." And I said, "No, man." I was like, I was trying to prove a point that anything I say, they just take it and make it whatever they want to make it. And that's the bad part about society today. You can't say nothing.
Because people are competing to be the biggest victims.
Yep.
And using it
Oh my gosh.
it on social media to say I'm a bigger victim and therefore I'm more entitled to be offended than you are.
Yep.
And therefore, they're only using it to try to garner some kind of relevance outside of their own circle.
Sure, of course.
Like
That's
I
all
even
they're doing.
told, yeah, I told the guy on Twitter. I said, "Listen, I said I'm not gay. I said I was talking with the two people that were on the show, and we just having a casual conversation. And of course, they take it and put it in somewhere else. I said two things. Number one, at least I know they're watching the show, and number two, they're just bringing more light to the show. I said I'm good with that. I said, but here's the problem. I was like, they're gonna do things like that, and there's nothing we can do about it. And he goes, I still can't believe you're sitting there making fun of us. We come out the closet and it's hard for us. You understand? I said, look, man, I was like, my brother's gay. I was like, I got gay friends and all of that. He goes, you sound like an old white man that tries to say he's not prejudiced. Like, I got black friends. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we
You
go.
can't win.
You can't win with them. You cannot
You
win.
can't win. You can't win.
Like, I
because
remember back. Go ahead.
Don't stop me from being a victim. Please
Yeah.
let me be miserable. I
Yeah.
want to feel bad. I want to feel like you just nobody likes me, and I guess I'll go eat worms. Come on, we all listen. We all in life. We all have challenges every day in life.
Yep.
Yep.
Why is it a competition now to say that yours are more than mine, or you don't know? You have no
I guess
idea what I struggle with. So just
He better not go and watch. He better not go watch Eddie Murphy's Raw. He ain't gonna like that one. Eddie
Do
Murphy's
you
Raw is a classic, and he just God, he killed it.
Mr. T.
do you
Mr.
find
T.
that challenging? Being the head of OVW, do you find that conflicting with like ideas of storylines or anything like that?
Yeah. I've got to be, I've got to skirt the edge a lot of times because the whole purpose is is to generate heat. Heat's a want. It's a need. It's not
Yeah.
anger. It's not. It's to drive you to want to see, the protagonist overcome the antagonist in some way. So in order to do that, we've got to make you not, like the antagonist, and we've got to have him do something that you don't agree with, and the sole purpose is then to try to draw that heat, that want out as much as possible to build to that climax of the protagonist finally getting justice over the antagonist. And that's just how the wrestling psychology and really any kind of storytelling is done. It doesn't matter if it's just wrestling. It's the protagonist can be the antagonist can be a mountain, or it can be a zombie, or it can be a bad boss. It could be an assassin. It could be a terrorist. It could be whatever it is. At the end of the day, it's there for the sole purpose of making you want to see the protagonist overcome and get justice on the antagonist. And you've got to kind of elicit some kind of a base emotion out of your audience to kind of get them involved and care whether or not your protagonist succeeds.
Yeah.
And it's tough today because if you're not careful, you'll get somebody who thinks they know more, because that's the problem that we have with social media. And social media is not the problem, it's our use of it. And that is that we have allowed too many people to have too much information, and therefore these people think that because they have access to information, they now have knowledge about a topic, which they don't. Because in order to have knowledge about a topic, I don't care what anybody tells you, in order to have real knowledge, you have to have information and then a commensurate amount of experience. And to prove my point, if you're a medical doctor, you can go to medical school for anywhere from 8 to 12 years. You'll graduate medical school, and when you graduate, you are not a doctor. You are not a doctor until you've completed a certain number of hours of residency training,
Yeah.
and supervised experience that, coupled with that information, now gives you an understanding, gives you real knowledge. That applies in every walk of life. But unfortunately, we in the wrestling business, because we are too insecure and too petty and we're too needy, have opened the doors so that we can feel like somebody can pat us on the back and justify or excuse our poor performance. So we'll turn to the fans and they'll bolster us up. And then what we've done is we've given them far too much information, and familiarity breeds contempt.
Mm-hmm.
The more you become familiar with anything, the more contemptuous you become of it. And as a result, you have all literally made your own bed and now complain about the very thing that you created and continue to foster by giving them what they want to see backstage when they have no business being back there because they don't understand what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
They think they do because they have access to some information, or like, and I trust me, I have no heat with any of the newsletter writers at all. But at the end of the day, those newsletter writers have never once stepped in a ring. They've never done it. So they don't have any real experience. They have tons and tons of information, but they're still just very well-informed fans.
And
But
they
now,
feel, and they get offended when you say things like that. But it's the
well, and
truth.
because the rest of the wrestling world listens to them and predicates their performance based on their opinion and not on the mass audience's opinion because they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they try to appeal to that one guy and each other backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the downfall that we now face. So
That is, it's so, you hit the nail right on the button there, Al. So good. Al, we can't keep you. We know you got to let you go, but where can we find Al Snow on social media?
at the Real Al Snow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. America's Most Wanted. I'm sure they're probably going to have my profile out pretty soon.
That's
You and
where I
Head.
know you from. Oh my god. Okay, it's all connecting. Thank you.
Yeah, if I put on the ski mask,
Yeah,
just the eyes. There
that's
you
it.
go.
That was like my favorite episode too, by the way.
It's awesome. I really know how to put those packages together. Trust me. I was sitting there watching. I'm like, damn, I look really good.
I mean, that's kind of what. Yeah, explains
Yeah,
a lot.
it really put me over. At ovwrestling.com for OVW, and we'll be live tonight on Fight TV. We're going, or no, Thursday, May 6th, tomorrow night. We'll be going live for 2 hours from 7 to 9 every week from thereafter. And I've got a comic book coming out, and it's called The Ballad of Al Snow and Head. And you can go to Broken Icon Comics, and we have a Kickstarter campaign that's going on. You guys can check it out. It's pretty cool. It's an actual real comic book. It's not like...
Am I in it?
Not yet, but there's going to be down the road, yes.
They want to sell copies, Devon.
That's the even
Yes,
better to put
I mean-
me in there. I learned from Al Snow. I didn't listen at first, but I learned. Al, listen, I just want to say thank you for everything.
Thank you.
All the memories over the years, all the
Thank you,
advice
brother.
you had given me and calming me down off the ledge so many times. And you and I know exactly what we're talking about. I thank
yeah.
you so much. And there's
Thank you.
one particular I don't even know if you remember it. I'm not even going to bring up any names.
Oh.
There was one time I was really pissed off and angry, and you and I went to dinner in Seattle, and my family hadn't gotten in to town yet. It was a big event, and I was pissed off at this one individual, and you said, Devon, don't do it. Don't do it. I was like, Al, if I hit him once, trust me, you're like, Devon, don't do it, because it's going to follow you. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And you were like, if you do, you'll never be able to do this again. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
or at least not on the level that you think. And I was just like, oh man. And it took a good 2 hours to talk me off the ledge and not beating or going after this guy. And I got to thank you, because today it's great now. To a certain degree. To a
In the
certain
bigger
degree,
picture, it was better off. So,
it was better off. So thank you. You saved my ass.
yeah.
I
It
didn't
ain't
even
gonna
know you
matter
were
in
saving
6
my
What
months.
a guy.
It ain't going to matter in 6 months, and why spend 6 minutes on it?
Exactly. So we'll let you go, but for all of that, thank you and happy
Thank
birthday,
you.
my friend.
Happy birthday! Thanks
not
for
my
joining
birthday.
us.
If anyone's
Yes, it is.
listening,
Yay!
Happy birthday,
Happy
Al.
birthday, Al
Happy
Snow.
birthday, Al. Al, it's your birthday. See you later. He got off.
He's like,
I used to love it. Every time we would do Comic Cons together, I would, you always have a guy or somebody walking around with a microphone, to kind of like commentate for the audience.
Yeah.
I would say, can I borrow that
that
microphone?
was Mo.
Yep.
That's
I'd be like, hey,
good.
listen, today's Al Snow's birthday. And he goes, Devon, it's not my birthday. Stop it. I go, Al's just being
Aw.
modest. It's his
And then we're all like,
birthday. You have to wish him a happy birthday. I have everybody singing a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And he was like the character head. He's like, make him stop. Make him stop. Devon, make him stop. I'm going crazy. Make him stop. It was hilarious.
Happy
Hilarious.
birthday, Al Snow.
That's
Happy
awesome. I can
birthday.
listen to his advice and his view on the wrestling world all day long.
Because
but-
it's the truth. Listen,
Yeah.
there's other people that you hear that give advice, on the bit, but he makes more sense because here's the deal: other people try to sugarcoat it because they don't want to get in trouble by other organizations because they're fearful of not working for them again. But Al don't care. Al will tell the truth, but he backs it up with facts.
Right.
And it's not like it's not true because it is. And that's the one thing I love about Al. He's going to be upfront with you. He's going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's just going to be upfront with you. And I think that's why Al has a lot of respect in the wrestling business.
I can see that. I can see that. Last thing that I'm going to ask before we wrap this up. You returned to action this week after many months away after your health scare. How was it getting back into the thick of things?
Well, it was good. I mean, it was very humbling to get people like Alexa Bliss, to get Mandy Rose and Dana, Sheamus, the production staff, just everybody working behind the scenes, people that do the trucks and all of that, to wish me back and how they miss me and this and that. The New Day grabbed me and hugged me. And, I told Xavier, I said, you don't have to worry about the Royal Rumble. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to the Royal Rumble no more. He goes, yeah, okay. I said, no, I'm done. As much as I wanted to be in the Royal Rumble and do it again, like I told him, I said, my health comes first. And I got to make sure that everything is good with that. So, with that being said, I can look at old tapes and reminisce and do that. But for now, I got to do what's right for my body and heal it and hear what it's saying. And right now it's not the time. And I got to come back 100%. And, again, I had my fun. So, but it was great being back and dealing with the talent, Lucha House Party, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin, had long talks with MVP and Truth.
Nice. Of course.
Yep. We were sitting talking and, it was just great to be back. It felt good. Although 7 months off was phenomenal, but it felt good being back, and the producing. I had Ricochet and Ali from Retribution. I had their match on Main Event, and it was really, really cool. I love being back, calling things on the headset again. It was nice. I had one of those conversations with Vince that Al talked about. I was like, hey, Vince, so how you doing? He just went, I'm good. How are you? And then walked away. I said, hello.
It's like, I got things to do.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing because I was like, don't worry, Al, he still does that.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Things. Yeah.
Well, I know as a fan, it's good to have you back behind the scenes. So, keep doing what you're doing. You talk about listening to your body. I need to listen to mine right now. I need to get some nachos.
Man, I'm jealous of you.
I have to.
Well, I'm going to have
listen to mine. What?
Wow.
Did I say that out loud?
I'm really jealous of you.
It goes back to that squirting topic, right?
That squirting
no,
topic.
it has to. No, all the
look. All
Cinco
to
de
all the
Mayo
fans
beverages
out,
I've been enjoying.
No, fan. Let me just say this. What happened was, there was a thing that I saw on Instagram when you go on that on a news feed, and somebody posted a post that all women can squirt on demand if they know their bodies. And I had asked Lindsay because she's a woman. No point intended. And she got all freaked out about it. She's like, we can't talk about that. No. End the show, Mo. End the show. That's what happened when we got off the air the way we did.
That's what happened.
I asked Lindsay, I said, is this true? Do all women do that? Because, women talk to each other. They talk about all their secrets or what happened to one another. So I'm sure somebody said something to Lindsay on the lines of, I could do it on call. And the guy thinks he's doing work and he really isn't. I could just make it happen.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, I'm busy.
As you chug, wow.